What's up, y'all? I'm sitting here talking to myself, and so, I need to turn on the camera. And I'm talking to myself about sort of I'm in this conversation about economies, and I'm thinking a lot about it. And, what Pluto is in Capricorn. My rising sign is Capricorn. We think about money. It's just in the stars for me. But I think about how to accomplish my Scorpio-ness. 4 planets in Scorpio. My Scorpio-ness thinks about how to disrupt, how to drive deeper, how to dig deeper into this relationship that we have with money, how to uncover it, how to figure out what's really making it move. And to figure out where we're in contradiction with ourselves and where we're not being honest. And so what's come up for me as I was sitting here and I was thinking, and I appreciate, I have said this. Well, I've said it and now I'm rethinking it. I have said I appreciate, the folks who send me money via Venmo and it can't be reparations and, there's no way to pay me in that way, for the amount of harm that, the white supremacist delusion has caused in my life and in the lives of the people that I love, my community. But what you can do is be in right relationship with what it is that you receive, right? And I think about it the truth of the matter is if you went to Starbucks every day and you bought your grande mochaccino or whatever it is that you bought, you would give them $6 every time you took that resource, every time you went in and got that resource. And capitalism, and this is the thing that I think is wild. Capitalism uses the state and state-sanctioned violence to protect its resource. So if you just went in and took that grande whatever without paying, Starbucks would engage the institutions of the state to come and protect its resource, its capital. It also has all kinds of barriers, right, to protect its capital. So there is a barista and a bar in between you, so that you can't just go back there and make your own coffee and all this other, so you can't just access the resource, right? So there are barriers that keep you from being able to access that resource. And so consequently, because capitalism is willing to use the tools of the state to protect its resource, thereby making you pay for it, you pay for it. But I wonder, is that the only reason that you, so would you just go, let's say that they were nope, Starbucks will never call the police on anybody ever again, and we've taken down this barrier, but, we would still ask for you to compensate us for the coffee because, of course, we have to pay for it and we have to do all the things that we have to do to bring it to you. But we're not going to police you. We're not going to employ the, mechanisms of the state against you if you don't. And so I guess the question is, do you pay because it's the right thing to do, or do you pay them because they will employ the institutions of the state against you? And if what you say is I would pay them anyway because that is appropriate, then I have to ask, if you come to my page, because there are 225,000 of the folks who follow me on this page, and I would say a large sum, at least 50% and maybe more, are white people. And I do not institute the mechanisms of the state to prohibit you from accessing my resource, right? I put forth the resource. Now, I had to pay for this resource. I had to pay in literal bodies in the ground to be able to relay to you, in addition to $110,000 in student loans, in addition to, fractured relationships and a mama on crack. And I paid for the things it is that I share, but I don't police it, right? I don't put a barrier up. There's no paywall. I don't say, you know, if you come and watch, but you don't put money in my Venmo, I'm going to come after you. I'm going to send the mechanisms of the state to protect the resource that you did not exchange for, right? And so I wonder what it is that has us do the right thing, but only when capitalism is employing the state to protect its sense of power. But we don't do that same right thing when relationship is not controlled through the mechanisms of capitalism and force of the state, right? And, you know, like the Black people, I notice on this platform very specifically give so wildly and so like just give forth, just provide. And let me not to use the word give because that's part of the problem. Provide such resource so often. And people are not compensating fairly. People aren't, you know, like provided in a way that white supremacist delusion does not provide for us in our own communities. I can't go into a building in the hood without there being a glass in front of me, without there being, I have to talk to people through glass, without there being an armed officer in the front of the door, without there being all the machinations of the state to protect the capital of whiteness. But Black people provide that same level of resource, that same level of information, power, etc., right? And there is not, without all of the machinations of the state to protect it, and white folks steal it, because that's really what it is at the end of the day. If I put a lemonade stand out, and I said it's 5 cents for a cup of lemonade, and you come and you just take the lemonade, but you never return anything, you stole the lemonade. And so I just wonder if people at all are in reflection about the ways in which they are stealing from Black people. Stealing from Black people because again, the treatment is like, oh, I'm actually just gifting you for talking, you know, for sharing this valuable information that's actually restoring me to humanity, that's actually like interrupting the epigenetic inclination to harm that is hardwired in me from generations. Like you're in here like disrupting that inside of me and changing my life. But I got $5 on it. Even though I've watched hours of your content and I'm so appreciative, but I got $5 on it. But you would never walk into Starbucks on a daily basis and then tell them, well, I paid you $5 on Monday, so I assume that the coffee Tuesday through Sunday is free. It's the stuff I'm asking us to think about when we talk about being in right relationship. Are you in right relationship? Are you in right relationship with Black people? Are you in right relationship with humanity? Are you operating from a love ethic? Or are you operating from a system of capitalism that will employ the machinations of the state violently against, you know, those who might toy with it? When I say all of this to say Black people have been given folks new models, different ways of being outside of these systems. And we ignore it or we take it for granted. Stop.